Well, this is the living legend, Jimmy Cliff, with the Mightycrown.
Mightycrown for Irish ruler.
Yo, this is Mightycrown for Irish ruler. Hey yo, yellow, Mightycrown. You know we step around to enliven the town and let fools go down. Hey yo, yellow.
Question is, well, you've been traveling all over the world. Is there any other place you still want to go, or is there a place like you still want to return back?
I would love to go to New Zealand and Australia because I know there's a scene down there.
Big.
Yeah, especially in New Zealand, where there's a big dog music scene. So those are two places I'd love to go to down under. I'd love to go back to Japan. I don't say that because you're here, Sami, but simply because I loved my 2 tours of Japan. The people's passion for the music is deep and rich, and it's a joy to play to people who really care so much about the music, not the hype, but the music. So, without doubt, those are 3 places I'd love to go to.
I mean, you bring certain other people, like, you know, like different crowd comes out when Rodigan come on, so that's like, it's a great, I mean, that's your weapon, and that's a great part of what you've been doing. And then, yeah, I mean, you travel all over the world besides New Zealand, right? And then you've been, where do you feel the love most, like the most love? Like,
I would definitely have to say Germany and Italy. Those 2 countries have a deep love affair with Jamaican music, and Italians are by their nature very passionate about life and things. Every year I play at a beach party in Salento, and that's one example of Italians' passion for music. They have obviously an Italian reggae scene where they speak in their own dialect. And also in Germany and Switzerland, there's a long tradition in Germany of reggae music and a love of reggae music, which stretches back, you know, Bob Marley and before. So again, they take their music very seriously and are very passionate about it. So I'd have to say that those 2 countries really have a love of reggae, and it's a great joy to play to those audiences.
Okay, this is a question. Well, as Sound Clash fans, as people in the reggae industry probably would want to hear. Can we see Rodigan still clash in the future?
Oh, of course. I have not retired from clashing.
Okay.
Please be quite clear. I have not retired from clashing. What I'd like to do is to take a breather, which I have done, and wait for the right lineup, the right location. And yes, I have some wonderful, I think they're wonderful dubs, and I don't want them to get too dusty or too rusty.
Okay.
I took a step back from clashing because, frankly, I was scratching my head in terms of what to cut by way of new dub that worked in the context of clashing. And I got a little bit lost, and everyone knows this is one of my issues, that in recent years I've seen a new type of dancehall, call it what you will, up-tempo music coming from Jamaica, some of which I just don't get. I don't get the production, I don't understand why there is this fusion of hip-hop and dancehall. I don't know,
basically you're not feeling that.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. So if I don't feel it, then, and I can't lie to myself, then what's the point of going into a clash when you've got to cut this stuff when I don't want to? So
okay, with that being said, I have 2 questions. One is, as you said, you didn't ever clash. You just took a break for the clash thing.
Yeah, I took a break in that. What am I going to cut? Who am I going to play?
Okay, so is there any sound that you still want to clash against or challenge against? Or maybe that might be a vice versa question. Every other song might just want to clash Rodigan.
Maybe. I mean, I think I've clashed all the big giants. Yeah, I'm just running them through in my head. I've clashed
basically
all the Premier League players.
Yeah.
I avoid throwdowns from young sound boys who want to clash, because I don't want to, I'm not in the proving game, and I just need to say this. I think one of the issues surrounding sound clash in modern times is that I think young sound boys and girls are at a distinct disadvantage through no fault of their own. They cannot access and cut dubs from artists who are no longer with us, clearly. And often they don't have the connection to the older artists, and they don't have the budget. So I feel that they're at a disadvantage, and I'm not going to go into a clash with a young sound that has that kind of disadvantage, because it's not fair. I think what was interesting was what happened this year at World Clash, which you described earlier on, Sammy, whereby there were sounds in that were not necessarily associated with clashing. They're juggling sounds, but they use their vinyl and their dub plates to mediate, if you like, to cause a cross-fusion in the dancehall. That was interesting. I think that a rule that could be thought about or considered for the future of sound clashing is, would it be worth saying that in order to continue the momentum and to give young sounds hope and inspiration, that we no longer have, in the one-for-one, the playing of any dubs by artists who are no longer alive? That would be an interesting concept, because then it would mean that young sounds could go into the arena knowing that they're not going to have to face the wrath of Bass Odyssey or Jara with all these...
With nitty-gritty,
exactly. That can't happen. That you're going in on a more equal playing field, whereby the young sounds have got to come up with ideas and combinations and think of dubs that are unique, and therefore they have more of an opportunity to show themselves. I think what we need to do is to encourage young sound systems, and this is what we desperately need. We need new young blood. Where's the new Mightycrown? Where's the new Bass Odyssey? And it seems to me that we are losing the momentum for new blood to come through. And the question has to be asked, why? Is it because the artists are charging too much money to cut dubs? Although we're seeing that change now, because you know that dubs can be ordered via the internet. There are some professional organisations down in Jamaica, and we know who they are, who are offering a very good dub plate service, and they're giving work to the elders who often need these dub plates to survive, and the voicing of them to survive. So that would be something I think that we need to think about. I have clashed all the greats, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've had some great fun. I'm not saying I won't clash again. That would be foolhardy, because I started clashing with sound systems in Jamaica in 1991 with Mightycrown. That was with Bodyguard, and I subsequently clashed with Mightycrown and Bass Odyssey and even Stone Love sounds that don't clash. And there have been some great fights and some great punch outs, you know. So when the time is right, a vintage clash would be nice, and I wouldn't object to it.
Well, one of our issues also as Mightycrown, and I've been touring the US and all these places, right? And then one of the issues that I'm facing was, like, as a sound system, there's lack of respect to the sound system, you know? So what do you think about that? Like, do you see that?
That's totally unacceptable. I'm sorry, that is unacceptable. And this was one of the reasons a number of years ago where I stopped clashing. And Shin will tell you this.
I wanted to know your point.
I stopped clashing because I got tired of the disrespect, the unnecessary speeches, the gutter sniping, the bitching, the unnecessary vulgarity. I failed to see the point of it. It wasn't funny. It was aggressive. It was aggressive in the wrong kind of way. I'm not saying one shouldn't defend one's corner, but some of the things I heard, it's like, why are you doing this? Because because I remember when clashing was majestic, when it was, you would never ever dare disrespect another sound selector. It was unheard of. The music did the talking. It was a musical chess game. Speeches would be made. There was no disrespect. In more recent years, we've seen this disrespect come in, where they snap at you and make really rude, unpleasant remarks that serve no purpose other than to make you, the person on the receiving end, feel sick to your stomach when you hear some of the things that they say. So I agree with you, Sammy. Why should you stand in an arena and take that from somebody who is supposed to be a selector who's supposed to respect his fellow selectors and is making the most repulsive comments and disrespect against another sound, and worse still, against the sound which is an elder to them. Unacceptable.
Wow.
Unacceptable, totally.
I mean, like when you listen to other genres like hip hop, R&B, house music, you know, they're making a lot of money, right? Basically, like when you compare to reggae music, I should say, they have like this certain kind of format. They have a certain kind of unity also, even though there's a competition within them. And then I see reggae music like fighting, like the same set of people who's promoting reggae. What do you think about that? Like, do you see that?
When you say fighting the same people that are promoting it,
I'm meaning like for instance, well, I'm coming back to this sound system thing that I was just mentioning you about. Like for instance, certain radio person get paid by the artist or whatever, and they only play certain artists.
well, that is like absolutely ridiculous, and that we're talking about root and branch corruption within the media, and that, I'm afraid, has prevailed on Jamaican radio for many, many years, and I'm not the first to say it because we all know it goes on. It's been discussed in forums in Jamaica by the Musicians Union and the Federations. I mean, it's sickening. I've heard records playing on the radio, not in recent times because I haven't been to Jamaica this year, but I've heard records being played on the radio, and I scratch my head and I think, this is why is this being played? And you're told why it's being played, because of the system whereby payola exists and records are played because they're paid.
Not because the selector is selecting the song.
No, because and we know this to be true, and radio, the media in Jamaica knows this to be true, and radio stations try to stop it. They try to prove that it isn't happening, and so on and so forth. But there have been, and there always will be, radio DJs, and I know it to be true in certain sound systems. You've heard stories where selectors will take money in order to play records. Now, that happens on the radio as well, and it doesn't just happen in Jamaica. It happens in other countries as well. But there are various forms of it, of what you call payola, in terms of, but outright, blatant, I'll pay you X amount of money to play this record repeatedly across a 4-week period, is unacceptable, because that means the record being played because the DJ is being paid to play it, which means why can't a DJ, why can't a record be played of its own merit? Some people would say, well, the DJs in Jamaica need that money for those of them that take it because they're not well paid enough, and they need this top up from payola. This is one of the stories I've heard. I mean, this is endemic, unfortunately, as I've been told on many times in Jamaican radio.
I don't think it's everyone. But
no, it's not. No, it's not everyone. We know it's not.
You see, you see the part of it, though.
Yeah. You can hear it, can't you, on the radio?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's.